I'm not going to go into a kind of review or preview of Gauntlet here. Why? I think the game is going to be a game that will need a lot of time to really get an impression on the game's life. And it's going to be highly based on what kind of experience you set up for yourself. Like, for example, for me, this is a game to play with friends. Do not play this by yourself, for I find it boring like that. And with other people, like other games, it could be a complete crapshoot. You may get a combo of 3 great players, or you may get 3 jerks, or somewhere in between. This game is designed to be fun with your friends, and it can be. I've only played a little bit, and my feelings are mixed on the game. But what I want to talk about is game design. In particular, understanding what kind of game you are creating and setting up your game to support itself. I think Gauntlet at its core is a good game, but it's held back in several areas, and those decisions help make Gauntlet a game that feels like it's wasted potential, that it could have been great, but no foresight was put into the game as a whole. As a software engineer, to me it came out like this: a bunch of good programmers who made solid concepts and did reasonably well, but there was no overall figure guiding a vision for the game. And while managers and leaders can ruin a project or game in no time flat if they're not suited to lead, a great leader, a great designer, a great director can help bring a game from that middle of the pack rating to a game of the year contender. Alright, so Gauntlet has a history of being a co-op game. You get 3 of your friends together, you raid a dungeon and all as well, right? Well, okay, that can work, but how about those who don't have 3 friends who are currently playing or want to play? And how do you cater to them? Or maybe somebody who's looking to play with others? Well, a server browser or something equivalent would fill that need. You look for the game type with the criteria that you want, and you join a game that fits your needs. This is something that Gauntlet severely lacks in. In fact, it doesn't lack, it just doesn't exist. You can either host a match or join another group attempting to start, but here's where things break down. One of the ways you level up is in mastery, mastering certain achievements and tasks in the game to make your character get stronger in some retrospect. Gold is a key part, and equipment is as well. So does the quick join take that into account? From what I see, absolutely not. A level 5 mastery may be paired with somebody that has a level 35 mastery, or a level 0. There seems to be no priority on it, meaning you may be playing with someone who's a lot further in the game than you, and that can be good and bad. But more troublesome than that is the fact that you are joining a game that you have no idea where the player is in the story. Have they completed the first dungeon or not? If I want to play something besides the first dungeon, is there an easy way for me to do that? I suppose I can create my own game and hope 3 people join my game with the same needs. Not everyone can do that, obviously, considering if everyone's hosts, there are no people to join. And then comes the 4-player element. You have to have one of each class. There's no duplicates here. So if I want to keep on playing my elf, I hopefully join a game that doesn't have the elf already selected. It's a first come first serve. Okay, I disconnect and I join another game, and hopefully this time I can find a game that I can play, assuming that the other criteria is met. So you see the dilemma here. What would fix it? Well, a simple server browser or some kind of join criteria. Hell, you don't need the server browser. Give me some way of filtering the type of games that I want to join. I want to only join a game that I can be an elf with masteries from 10 to 25, or that are looking to play the second dungeon. It helps bring players together that are of a like need, and should be something relatively easy to implement. It reinforces your core game and what its strength is. Instead, you have an experience of hoping to find the right game, and that's an element that the game strikes out on hard. You don't know how many times I played the first level because I would join a game where it was the first dungeon, and it starts to strike out over and over and over again when you're playing the same dungeon over and over and over. Okay, so let's say you get lucky. Let's say you find a game that after a while seems to work for you. You're playing what you want, and while it may not fit entirely to you, it'll work. Okay, good, let's get going. You start to get into the dungeon, you notice that your teammates are having problems, or they may not know where to go, and you want to indicate to them that you see something or what to focus on. And in lies another rub. There's no in-game microphone support built into Gauntlet. You can say things to your teammates through action-specific button presses, like I need assistance or follow me, the basic of basics. Okay, so there's no voice chat, at least I can type something out, right? No, I can't. I'm sorry, isn't this a co-op game? Isn't this a game to play with people? Isn't human interaction a basis for that? I can't even seemingly coordinate a Mumble or TeamSpeak server considering there's no way of starting any sort of text chat in the game. I'm sort of stuck here. A team that can't communicate beyond basic levels makes the game a lot more difficult. Hell, maybe I like the way that someone's playing. Maybe I want to chat them up, but no, not going to happen here. Alright, fine. I'll make do. Considering people seem to not know where to go, I want to make the follow me phrase a little bit more accessible to me. Let me rebind the oh, right. Neither the keyboard nor the controller has rebindable keys. Now, some may argue the controller portion, which I would disagree with strongly, but the fact that you can't rebind the keyboard just seems absurd to me. The emotes, for example, are the main arrow keys. I'm using the mouse and WASD. Why the hell are they all the way over there? Don't you want to accommodate those players who want to change their controls up a little bit to get the maximum experience out of your game? That's the major problem I have with Gauntlet now that I think about it. This game feels like it was created by a bunch of people who made a game that they wanted to play, the way they wanted to play. And that's fine, that can work. But what they didn't consider was giving an option to those who still wanted to play the game that was created, but altered in a way that suited their playing style. And that's a major problem in my opinion when it comes down to appeal. Can a game work with seemingly such a limited sense of customization? Actually, yeah, it can, but it's not going to work for everyone. The game will turn off several players that you could have easily brought in with some simple options. Your appeal could have been so much greater, but you didn't have the foresight or design principles to offer it, and thus you alienate part of your user base. Now, don't get me wrong, offering too many options or trying to appeal to too many people has its downfalls as well. You can dilute a game or make it too much effort to bring to the market. But these options that are missing here, which range from the simple, rebindable controls to what I would say medium level, a filter for joining games, seem like the kind of things that you would want to offer your user base. Now, I'll finish off with this. From what I'm reading, Arrowhead Game Studios is listening to people, and some changes have already been made. That's great, and I look forward to seeing if Arrowhead implements several of the sentiments that have been made by people. Hopefully they can fix the shortcomings here and will bring more and more people to the game. But I think the game shows a strong issue regarding game design. How to adjust your game fairly to those who don't fall into your projected demographic. In here, I think the demographic was very specific. Someone who has 3 friends with the game, with voice chat options outside the game, playing with a controller and like their keybind. But some simple foresight and understanding of your customer base, and you would already have those things implemented. And while you can wait for patches all day, will the game's life force drain by the time it's implemented, or people's interests wane? In this case, I hope it's not that case, but only time will tell. I think that on some level it's an example of what the gaming industry is having as a problem as a whole. Where to draw the line of the market you are going for. There's both extremes here. Take Resident Evil 6 as a prime example of one extreme. There were so many demographics that were attempted to be appealed to. Action gamers, horror lovers, story lovers, sadly, that it did none of them well, and thus was crappy all around. This game, Gauntlet, is the other extreme, where simple options would have opened up the market for a whole set of new people to play your game, yet weren't considered. I think that's why the indie scene is doing so well right now. From what I've seen, the indie companies know their user base. They know where the boundaries are and who their target audience is. They are in touch with their communities, but the good ones know full well what their limits and capabilities are. And I think the gaming masses have responded well to them because of that. And bigger companies should take note of this. They could learn a lot from them. In short, Gauntlet is a game that I can't recommend right now, because it may not be up your alley. It's not because of gameplay, it's not because of sound or graphics, but because it may not be beneficial for you. If they roll out some of the options I said, then I think it opens up and may be beneficial to take a look at. But I think the game serves more as a lesson right now. Know your projected market, and it shows how you can miss the mark if you don't know that exactly. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a chance, leave some feedback and comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This is Dragnix signing off, hoping that gaming brings as much fun to you as it does for me.